Welcome to Business Blurb, you and the Dropouts podcast. My name is Brendan Cox. I'm here with my co-host, Devin Caherly. What's up, Devin?
What's going on, everybody? Today we have a very special guest, Jack Rosenthal. He's an 18 entrepreneur and investor at Babson College in Massachusetts. What's up, Jack?
Hey, what's going on? Excited to be on the podcast. I've heard a couple episodes myself, and I'm looking forward to now being on an episode.
Sweet. Yeah, thanks for coming on. So for the viewers who don't know a ton about you, because I'm sure this will get some teen entrepreneur clicks or whatever we title it, can you just tell the audience a quick rundown of who you are, kind of what you do, and I know you go to Babson and all that. You don't have to give us your whole life story, but just a quick rundown of who's Jack Rosenthal.
Yeah, the quick highlights, the things that grab the headlines. So first off, in high school, I'm now a freshman, just finished my freshman year at Babson College. In high school, I started this thing called the Young Investors Club, which started with 0 members, just me, or 1 member, just me, and grew to become one of, if not the largest teen investing clubs in the country, with over $100,000 in assets under management within that club. After running that club, I wrote 2 books. My first book, Teen Investing, which kind of came out of running that club, teaching a bunch of teenagers about investing. I wrote this book about investing for teenagers. And then more recently, I wrote my latest book, Teen Entrepreneurship, kind of similar to my boy Brendan's book.
Yep.
I'm talking about his personal story. This one talks about my own personal story and, how teenagers can get involved in entrepreneurship. So, and then more recently, I kind of have a digital marketing agency thing. Not sure if we're going to get into that on the podcast, but that's another business I run, which has actually been doing really well. And we have 2 part-time staff members on that.
Awesome. So you got a lot of stuff going on, clearly. Have you always been super entrepreneurial since day one or from the start?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's probably pretty common from what I'm noticing when I talk to other teen entrepreneurs. I started my first business at 6, which I've not heard anyone beat that yet. I saw cool paper planes on the internet called coolpaperplanes.com. And we sold paper airplanes for $1 each. We'd mail them in the mail to everyone who ordered on the website. And this was when I was 6 years old, so 12 years ago. That was my first business.
Impressive. No, yeah, I'm with you on that. I feel as much as it's changing a little bit, where kids are getting I don't know, as stupid as it sounds, I feel TikTok has gotten some kids I guess just inspired and wanting to start their own businesses. But I do notice a lot kids just are born with it. I was out doing lemonade, I would beg my neighbor to do lemonade stands every other day, and my mom would make me pay her back for the stuff. It's some of the stuff you got to be born with. I feel it's just that mentality of hustling. I don't know, it definitely, there's some genetics in there, I'm sure, but what would you say, I don't know, what would you say entrepreneurship means to you? Because I feel there's so many definitions and common misconceptions, especially with the internet changing entrepreneurship into owning a Ferrari and a mansion. How would you define entrepreneurship if you could?
I mean, I'd say entrepreneurship at its most basic core is creating value. And I'd say probably more specifically creating monetary value. That's how I define it. As far as the whole thing with the, Lamborghinis and, we see on TikTok, there's a ton of influencers that'll use props pretty much in order to, drive attention. I think too often it's seen as I just do this, do X, Y, Z, follow what this influencer says to do, buy his course, and then I'll become, a millionaire, teen millionaire like him. And it's often not the case. Oftentimes, what I found is business looks a lot more similar to what your parents are doing than what that crazy rich kid online is doing. It's just the same basic principles. They're readapted in the internet today. That's why I reference what your parents are doing. What your parents were doing, let's say, cold calling back in the day, that might be kind of transition now with the internet into cold emailing, or cold DMing is kind of the new version of that. But it's the same fundamental principles that existed 20 or 30 years ago, and the same work ethic it takes is the same work ethic it takes today. You just have to transition it into more modern means of messaging.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel there's a bunch of gurus out there, especially on social media, that kind of not even ruin the rep, but scam people, and it has that image, especially on Instagram. I'm sure you're aware of. It kind of just ruins it.
Just
Yeah, no,
it's just
me and you, Brendan, are kind of in that space a little bit. Like, we follow those guys, and they kind of know a little bit about me and you. Probably more about you with the business blurb thing, but yeah, I mean, they can definitely ruin it for everybody, and I think they're taking a lot of advantage of a lot of people.
no, definitely. I try to stay away. I'm not really connected with many of them, honestly. Maybe they know who I am, but I don't know. I don't know. I like see them on social media, but I'm never like, I don't know. We don't interact with them that much. Sometimes a business blurb and all that, but yeah, like it's funny because they'll make like a certain amount of money on Shopify, and first of all, this is revenue, not
Yeah,
profit,
revenue. Yeah,
which they make. They a lot of them don't understand the difference between, clearly, and then they make it and they're like, oh, I'm not making that much money off Shopify, but I could tell people I'm making a ton of money off Shopify and make a ton of money, and they make a lot of money off these courses. Like, there's this one kid on TikTok who's making like a fortune off these courses, and
is
it's
it
like,
his name start with a J?
I don't even know, to be honest. I don't
He
know.
like 16.
I think, but I couldn't put a name to it. He's just always on my For You page. I don't follow him or anything, but like then everybody are in his comments like, dude, why'd you block my friend? Like, it's just like funny. It's just
There's
funny.
one kid that I know that, yeah, it's the same thing. Shopify dropshipper. I don't know him. I just, yeah, exactly say follow him on TikTok, and I think he sold 300 or 500 courses for $300 each, which is like $300,000.
Wow.
No, he sold 1,000. He sold 1,000 courses for $300 each. So $300,000, basically pure profit.
Insane. I mean, like, I don't know. It's like, it's one thing if the course has actual value, but the problem is the way they promote it. And I get what they're doing. I don't want to make this whole podcast about Shopify drop shipping, but like, because it's not. But like, it's you can do a Shopify dropshipping course if you're adding value and it's like an actual good course. But the way they promote it as like, you're gonna sign up for this course and tomorrow you're gonna be a millionaire and our Lamborghini's gonna float into your driveway and then the Gucci is gonna, like, it's like, that's not. And I get it because that's what gets clicks, but like, that's just such a poor way of, like, it's just such a false, like, misconception. I don't know, but besides that, let's get back to you because this podcast is about you, not Shopify gurus.
Totally.
So like, tell us more about this teen investing club, or what did you say, young investing club?
Yeah. So younginvestorsclub.org. So that was an organization I started when I was 14 years old. I was basically looking for a way to invest real dollars alongside other teenagers. And I looked for all around in my area, looked online, and I couldn't find a way to invest real money with other teenagers and collectively invest the real money. So I decided to create my own club. I did it totally outside of school because I'm sure you guys can imagine if the school is involved in something like that where there's real thousands or tens of thousands of dollars involved. They like to stick their fingers into everything. So I did it totally outside of the school. Got 20 members my first year with $20,000 in assets in the pool, and like the pool of the funds of the club. By the time junior year of high school came around, it was up to 40 members and $40,000 of assets. And that year was really the year I decided I wanted to take it to become the largest teen investing club in the country. And by the end of that year, after a lot of work, thousands of emails and hundreds of phone calls to parents and teenagers, grew it from 40 to close to 100 members and over $120,000 collectively managed by the club. So $120,000 was in the club's bank account or investment account. And then I ran that club all throughout high school. And then at the end of senior year, I passed that club off to another high schooler who I had continued to run the club because I always wanted the club to be run by a high schooler. And that was the Young Investors Club.
So whose money is, like, I don't know if I'm like, this is a dumb question, but like, who's putting all this money in, and like, how are you making money from it, or is it not something you're making money from?
Yeah, so it's definitely not. It's like an almost non-for-profit venture. It's more just like this cool kind of club I created.
Mm-hmm.
And then whose money is it? It's 100 kids approximately putting in $1,000. That's where you get all the money from, or a little bit more. Then there's investment income and everything.
Interesting. So you just grab like kids and like teach them how to invest and like where you should put your money, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So I kind of became, through running the group, like the main teacher of the group, and taught them all about investing and how they can go about investing in the stock market. And then, yeah, as far as where the members came from, we partnered with this large organization which had a ton of parents in it. Took 6 months to get on their platform. This was in freshman year, and then finally, after getting put on their platform, they sent out blast emails promoting the club to all their members, and that's really where the bulk of the members came from.
Impressive. So, are you still like involved, or once you handed it off, is it
No,
like
totally. That's the cool thing. I'm totally not involved. The club runs now totally on its own. I'm just the founder of it. I created it. Everybody knows I created it, but yeah, totally not involved now.
that's awesome? So
And
now,
and now you're in Babson, right?
Yeah, now I go to Babson. Which, how do you guys know that school? I see like a ton of people
I
from Babson.
visited. I like interviewed there before I went to a different school, and now I don't go to school. But
I decided to drop out, hence the name of the podcast.
yes, both dropouts. It's actually funny. We've had a decent amount of like actual college dropouts on this podcast, but yeah, let's talk about Babson. Babson's obviously like the number one school for entrepreneurship. They're crushing it. I loved it when I visited there. I thought like it was just because that's like the whole aspect of college that colleges are missing. They're not, and if they are teaching entrepreneurship, they're usually not doing the best job at it. And Babson's kind of like changing the game for that. So like, how do you like that? How's their programs? Like, do you find yourself learning a lot of new stuff, making connections?
Yeah, definitely very cool school. A lot of cool kids go there. One of them that goes there in particular is MTV Mark. Not sure if you know him on Instagram. He's the kid who founded Lolly. He was in Mike Magillock's vlog once, and Mike invested in his company. So he's one of the most notable kids who currently goes there. But yeah, a lot of cool entrepreneurs that go there. I personally haven't got as much out of it, like from the connections point yet. I think I'd like to work on that a little bit more. A lot of the kids are typically like a little bit older and off campus, so it's a little hard to reach them, but I should definitely work on that. And then as far as like the curriculum that the school teaches, it's yeah, I mean it's not totally entrepreneurship focused. I'd say the majority of the curriculum is just like any other college where you learn accounting and legal and what else do you learn? English and everything like that. Then there's this class we take freshman year called FME, which is really the entrepreneurship class. And yeah, I would say it definitely teaches you the basics of entrepreneurship. I mean, not to like sound arrogant or anything like that, but if you've already run a business before coming into college like me and like some other students, it's kind of re-going over a lot of knowledge that you already know. So it depends, but I'd say definitely for people that have never started a business before, it has a great curriculum.
Agreed. Like,
Awesome.
that's one of the things. Like, if you, I don't know, like you, entrepreneurship, I believe is so you learn so much by doing. Like, I've been out of college. Devin's been out of college for a year now, or what is it? A little over a year.
Yeah, basically in a year.
Yeah, or yeah, a little bit less than a year for me at least. And I've learned so much just by like trying out different things, building random websites, like just messing around basically in this space than like sitting in a classroom. And like yeah, it was my freshman year, but I don't know. It's like, and I had that same thing. I had like intro to entrepreneurship, and it's like beating a dead horse if you've already ran a like. I'm not saying Babson's like that because I didn't take the class, but like
Yeah, it's
you
probably
probably could have went up
really
there and
good
taught
thing.
the class better than the teacher, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too insulting of everybody, but yeah, I would say probably accurate.
I mean, they obviously have to cater to the kids that don't have businesses too, so it's like it's that hard like gap. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting concept, and like I think schools are getting a little bit better at it, but it's still that like weird concept of like, can you teach entrepreneurship in college? Like,
It's a great
is it
question, and
possible?
I would go controversial and say you probably can't.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like just how everything's moving, like technology moving so fast. Schools like need to just be quicker. Like you starting this digital agency, like that's like they have nothing really like to teach on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or like the let's say the social media marketing class that I take there one day. I mean, just the stuff that we're going to be learning where the teacher is teaching that is probably stuff that was like relevant 10 years ago, and then the stuff that's relevant today that you can only learn through doing is just like you're not going to learn that from the class.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
exactly. Yeah,
So
no, it's interesting. It's an interesting concept. Did you ever have that thought in your mind? Like I know I did throughout high school. I was like I'm not going to college, and I'm glad I went for a year. I definitely am glad I made boatload of connections. Like I was up at my college the other week, just like visiting friends and stuff, and hanging out with like the director of entrepreneurship or whatever. But like, I know I'm grateful that I like went for that 1 year. But like, did you ever have that thought that it's like college is not for me, or like, do you still have that thought like maybe I could be better off just messing around and testing stuff out on my own?
Yeah, definitely. So I'd say two things. One, I'd say, yeah, I mean, I have not learned anything really significantly valuable to a business that I run today, or probably to a business that I run in the future in college or high school so far. And I went to a good high school and I go to a pretty good college for entrepreneurship. So that just says a lot right there. I'm not really going for the learning purpose. And, every single day when I'm in classes, it's not really contributing to anything that I think will be relevant for my future as far as the information that I'm learning there. However, and yeah, the reason why I haven't decided to take the bold step you guys took and drop out would be I just don't feel that there's enough things that I could do to occupy my day yet where it would make up the time that I'd be spending in college. I mean, you spend very little time in college is something I've realized. You spend like 3 hours a day in classes. The whole rest of the day is free. I want to try and, see if I can use up as many of those other hours first and really try and be as productive as I can first there. And then if it really starts to impede and really starts to kind of stress where I need those 3 extra hours plus some homework time, then I would consider dropping out. But right now I'm just not at that point.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Are you still like investing in other like companies or stocks? Like,
yeah. So then what do I got going on now? So I run my own investment portfolio where through businesses and through investing, I've been able to build up a significant amount of capital for an 18-year-old. So I invest my own money in the stock markets and a little bit in crypto, but I don't pretend to know anything about crypto. I just know I got lucky. I put $5,000 into Ethereum and it turned into 10,000. That's all that I know about it.
Devin is the Ethereum god.
Devin's the Ethereum. He must be preaching Ethereum every day.
Not exactly, but I believe in like crypto. I don't know about you, but it's just very interesting how like the world's moving. Honestly, how I see it, it's like another bank account. How I see it, but.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I think that the millennials in our generation, as we continue to get more wealth, as we get older, we'll put more into crypto and then it'll become more valuable. So definitely see some value there. But anyway, so I run my own investment portfolio that belongs to me. And then I also run this agency that I've been doing for a while now. And it's pretty much a social media management company where we manage social media accounts for like medium-sized businesses.
Nice. Like what type?
So we got like a large wine. A lot of them start off in Westchester, New York, which is where I'm from. We have like one of the largest wine companies in Westchester. We do their social. We have some top real estate agents. We do their social, those kind of people.
So you say we. Do you have a team or is it just you?
Yeah, no, I have a team. I'm not super involved in the day-to-day posting. I just kind of oversee the accounts. So I have 2 part-time team members who create the graphics and do all the social, grow the accounts.
Sweet. Good. Yeah, we were gonna ask you more about crypto, but if you're no crypto expert, but I mean, I feel like it's hard to be a crypto expert. No, it's kind of just like a lot of it's just luck, and I don't know. I mean, some people know what they're talking about, but I don't know.
I mean, like, yeah, I could talk about it. I could talk about like the overall idea of it, but I mean, I don't pretend to know anything about I know what blockchain is kind of, but no means an expert.
Yeah. So we wanted to ask you, like, because obviously you've done pretty well with investing. You got the investing club and all that. Like, if you're like an 18-year-old kid, because this is like a problem I see a lot with kids these days. Like, I feel like I've been pretty smart with my money. Same with Devin, and obviously you too. But like, there's so many kids that blow their money. Like I swear to God, the amount of kids that get a paycheck and it's gone within 24 hours is like makes me want to throw up. So like,
totally.
I'm serious. It's like kids are like they don't set themselves up for the future. Like, and then they can't afford gas, so they can't buy their next car. It's like, it's frustrating to me. So like, if there's a kid out here watching this and say they have $5,000 to their name, they're 18 years old. Like, what's the first thing you tell them to do investing wise?
Yeah. Okay. So first, 2 things. One, funny you mentioned that. Like I remember when I went to camp when I was younger, and I remember the camp counselors used to get their paychecks every week, and then I think that they would get it like on Friday, and they would already have spent the Friday's paycheck on Thursday. I mean, that just shows it's
insane.
Such stupid money decisions. So I don't think you have to be like a genius to invest, to save your money. It's a very simple concept, but I think you just need to exercise some self-control in order to do it. I would say, so let's say you're a teenager. First of all, how do you get the 5,000? 5,000's super easy to get as a teenager. You can work at a summer job, earn a couple $100s a week, and after the whole summer, you can easily have the 5,000 or a few thousand. Not to mention if you work 2 summers, bam, you already got your 5,000. Not to mention if you're working during the year, which you do plenty of time during the school year. So 5,000 is very attainable to get in terms of the actual cash. And then where you invest it, I would personally say just put it all in the S&P 500, which is the combination of the top 500 largest U.S. companies and it's got 500 of them in it. It's weighted, so like the larger the company, the more of a percentage of the index it is. You're very diversified because you just buy this one mechanism and it has 500 different companies in it. It's got an average return of about 8 to 10% a year for the last 50 years. And as long as you don't need the money in the long run, it'll almost certainly go up. And if, let's say, for teenagers who have a very long, investment horizon, like who don't really need the money right now, that makes the most sense.
Do you ever recommend people opening up like IRAs?
No, I mean, there's something called like a Roth IRA. I'm not a huge fan on that just because you can't take the money out until you're like 55. And $5,000, okay, whatever, turns into say 30,000 or something by the time you're in college or out of college. If you keep adding to it, you might want that 30,000 to start a business. And if you have it all locked up in one of these IRAs that you can only get, when you're 55, you're already past the prime of your career when you're 55, and you may need that money when you're 30 to start a business where it could probably be more useful. So I don't really recommend that too often.
It's an interesting option. I think it depends on your situation.
Totally.
Too.
So like if you're like going to be a 9 to 5 worker, 100%.
Yeah, or I sometimes think, I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but say you're an entrepreneur and you're not working for a business and you don't have like a good retirement plan, so that can be your retirement plan. Put in, I don't like, the max is $6,000 a year, I believe, and like, I mean, if you can afford it, like, I'm not saying like a teenager's making, I don't know, it's like, it depends, it definitely depends, but it's an interesting option. Like, I know my dad, when he was young, he put in $4,000, hasn't touched it to this day, and it's like, it's insane how much it grew. So it's like, I don't know, it's an interesting option. It kind of just depends on your situation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, for example, my parents with my college savings account, I think they started when I was like born basically, and they put in less than half of the cost of going to college, and just because of the returns of the stock market ever since then, like the stock market just paid for my college more than them.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, and that's another thing. Kids, I mean, I think it's changed like dramatically this year. But like, I know kids in like high school, they weren't investing their money. Like I literally say, like, you're missing out on free money. Like, maybe if you have $10 in your Venmo, like, I don't know if it's worth it, but like, it's just a learning experience too. Like, you're better off just messing around with it and like trying to understand it when you're young, and then like being financially smart as you grow up. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting how involved you got. Like, and I love the Teen Investors Club. Like, I kind of wish I did something like that in high school. That'd be fun. But
Yeah, we had no clubs about investing in high school, I remember.
yeah, even if it was outside, like, I don't know. I think in our town especially. So Devin lives in Los Angeles now, but we went to the same high school and everything. And like our town, I just don't think kids would have been into it. Like, I think now they would have because of TikTok and this crypto wave. Like, I think kids talk about that in high school now, but I don't think 2 years ago anybody would have gave a shit. Honestly.
Yeah, I feel like the crypto kind of changed or made kids more of like interested in like investing, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's why I think, like, going back to my book, I think that like there's a huge trend now. It used to be entrepreneurship was like the trend like 10 years ago. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 10 years later, I think the trend is investing. Everyone wants to be an investor through Robinhood, and seeing people making so much money in crypto in the markets. Investing is the latest thing. And that's why, first of all, between the two books, the teen investing book sells a lot more copies. I don't know exactly why, but I think it's because that whole kind of like investing narrative, and teenagers want to learn from another teenager about investing. By the way, I know we haven't promoted the book, but yeah, if anyone wants to go get the book, you can go get it on Amazon under my name, Jack.
Yeah, definitely go grab a copy.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, I noticed that too. I noticed the investing book did super well, and I was wondering if it was because I was just trying to look up like the book and everything. I saw you did like a TV segment on that. I didn't know if that was what pushed the sales so heavily. Weren't
Yeah.
you on like Newsmax or something?
Yep. Yeah. It was on Newsmax. It was on Newsmax. Did some other podcasts. There's like some articles written. I mean, we got to do more of that stuff. But yeah, the biggest thing is not. It has nothing to do with any of that. I'd say it's like Amazon's driving the sales, and I think that parents are looking for teen investing books, or teenagers are looking for investing books. And then there's already a couple other teen investing books written, but this one was like one of the only ones that was written by a teenager, and also a teenager that has as much experience as me investing in the market. So that's really why the book's done so well.
Agreed. Yeah.
Publicity
I,
or anything like
I
that.
think also when parents just like see their kids in interest, like kids, like I don't know, what parents are like, what the hell am I going to get my kid for his birthday? Like, so I feel like parents aren't always in the loop of what their kids are interested in. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're totally out of the loop. And like once they see their kid investing, they're going to look up like, oh, teenage investing. And I'm sure yours is one of the first search results. So that definitely helps, which is cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about
We'll
your
just
new
talk about.
books. What were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, like, talking about the books, like, you wrote 3 books, Brendan wrote a book. Like, I haven't wrote a book. Like, I don't know what's that process like. Like, how do you even like go about that, and like how long does that normally take?
Yeah, well, Brendan knows it. So pretty much, you got to write the book first, most important step. And then after that, you hire an editor. I hired an editor off Fiverr. Also designed the cover. Also designed the cover on Fiverr. Then there's this Amazon KDP thing, which is how you list the book. Amazon's honestly great. I mean, a lot of authors talk shit about Amazon and say they charge a lot of money in fees, which is true, but Amazon really gives you the whole platform to sell the books. Everyone buys books on Amazon. So it's like they give you so much exposure that it's worth whatever fee they want to charge. And they also do all the printing and shipping for you. Like me and Brandon don't have to keep any inventory. Amazon just prints it all to order, just like drop shipping. Exactly. So it's an amazing model. And anyone who writes the book, definitely highly recommend you go through Amazon. And then, but most important, anyone can write a book these days. I mean, you literally see everyone and their mother has written. Not ever. When you're an author, it seems like a lot more people have written books than when you're not an author. But really, anyone could write a book. It's all about promoting the book and marketing the book and what the book's about. Like tons of people write memoirs, but honestly, who wants to read a 70-year-old's memoir about their war stories or whatever? So it really depends on like what you're marketing the book about. The book was really well marketed around teen investing. There's a big need for it in the market. You got to get publicity for it, like go on podcasts, do articles, everything like that. And yeah, that's pretty much the process of writing a book in a minute.
Yeah, no, definitely. Amazon's great. There's pluses and minuses to both. My dad works at a big publishing company, and it's like there's definitely pluses and minuses. Like if you go through the publishing company, you got to hire an agent. They have to pitch you. Someone's got to pick your book up. It's a different process. You're usually when you're going through a publishing company, you're not necessarily making the bang of your buck per book. Like that's how Amazon is. You'll get like an upfront pay. So it's just a different process. The one complaint I have about Amazon is that they don't have hardcover like that.
Yeah, very true.
I think it's gonna come soon though. That they'll definitely get that figured out. But I agree with you. It's like they make the process so smoothly that pretty much like I literally just had a friend DM me who just bought my book, and he's like, yeah, like do you think I should go through KDP? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, because it's just and that's one of the things with mine. Like I could have went the agent route and had my book in Barnes and Noble and had my book in Target and do all that extra stuff. But my thing was like it's time sensitive too. Like when it takes 6 months for like an agent to figure all that out and pitch your book, and it's just a lot. It's like,
and then another 6 months for the publisher, and you to work with the editor and their PR people.
Exactly. It's like, and there's pluses and minuses. Like with them, they have the in-house PR team. You'll be in Barnes and Noble, you'll be in Target, and you'll be on Amazon. But like, there's just pluses and minuses. Like you can go either way. It kind of depends too, because like a lot of big publishers, they're not going to pick up a teen investing book,
yeah.
But it's gonna they just don't see the potential. So it's an interesting concept, and I think it's so cool that they've made it so easy for anybody to publish a book. And I love the whole thing that you were saying. Like we don't touch the copies. It's not like I'm shipping out a copy whenever one sells. It's like you don't even touch it. You just get a paycheck in your bank account, which is awesome. So did you just write 2 more books? We got to wrap this up just because time. But you wrote 2 more books, right?
Yes, I wrote Teen Investing was the first one I wrote after running the Young Investors Club all throughout high school. And that's really been the flagship book. And then more recently in college, about a month ago, I wrote my latest book, Teen Entrepreneurship, also by my name, Jack Rosenthal on Amazon. And that one's really all about, entrepreneurship, my own entrepreneurship journey, how I built some businesses, how I was able to get the money in order to invest in the first place, which is a really crucial step for any teenager looking to build their investment portfolio. So if anything, the order of the books I recommend readers read is first read the teen entrepreneurship one. That one will teach you how to actually earn the money, and then read the teen investing one, and that one will teach you how to invest the money and have build up a large portfolio in the long run.
Yeah, for sure. Not everybody go to Amazon and buy those books. Amazon Prime, they'll come in 2 days.
There you go.
But yeah, just to wrap it up, Devin, go ahead. You could.
Yeah. So like, you're 18 now. You're still young, but like, if you would go back in time, like, what would you change differently about your life? Like, if you're a kid again.
Oh, that's so hard to answer.
Or would you do the same exact thing?
No, I wouldn't do this. I mean, and if you say you're going to do the same exact thing, that means you made no mistakes, and that means it took so long to figure out what the right thing to do was. I mean, if anything, I would say probably learn sales earlier. I think a mistake I made early on was relying on other people to do sales. When you're young and you're just getting started, you have to do it yourself, and before you can teach someone else how to do it, you have to know how to do it well. So that's probably the biggest thing I'd say: learn sales earlier.
Nice. Sweet. Well, I don't know. You can go plug yourself again. Like, everybody go get his books on Amazon. You could find them under Jack Rosenthal, correct?
Yeah, Jack Rosenthal, Teen Investing, Jack Rosenthal, Teen Entrepreneurship. Pretty much just type in my name into Amazon and books will come up.
Awesome. I mean, you could probably find them on like your socials too.
Oh yeah, don't plug my personal. Those are just for friends and fam. Do my business one, starsocial.pro, if you want to follow me on Instagram.
Sounds good. Well, we appreciate you coming on. This was fun. And yeah, everybody go grab a copy of his books.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. Looking forward to hearing future episodes.